Yeah, this is Paul with Auto Apps. Today, the class we'll be covering is discussing customer analysis and customer retention and how to use the new Insights reporting tool to be able to look at your customers and how well you're retaining your customers. So once we launch the Insights, you're going to see that we have two buttons. We got customer analysis and customer retention. We're going to spend most of our time in customer analysis, and then we'll be jumping into customer retention. Now, when we go into customer analysis, it's going to load up, and you're going to be seeing a drop down this month to date. Then you also have a drop down of your different date ranges. In this case, I'm simply going to click on last month. We can look at all customers, and this would simply be all the customers come in, new customers, returning customers, and best customers. So when we're looking at your customers, if I simply just click on all customers, this is simply going to show me any customer that came in that had a closed invoice for that date range. You can see in this case we had 117 customers. They had 132 visits, your average visits, your sales total, your average invoice, and the revenue per customer. Then it also shows you those same customers in all of 2019 and any other visits and average visits for that year to date. You'll see that you have your first name, your last name, business name, any notes that you would have. It's also going to show you the first date, the first closed invoice they ever had, and their last closed invoice. So this is going to be all time. So this is number of ROs and then total sales for the lifetime of that customer. In the date range you choose, you see the first date they came in, the last date they came in of that date range, how many ROs, and then we're automatically going to list the highest sales for that date range, and then it gives you the total for 2019. You do have the ability to hide. If I didn't want to see all-time sales, all I do is click on hide all-time sales or show it. Same with if I wanted to see all the detail of the customer. Here's all your phone numbers, your email addresses, and then all the information for that customer. And you also have the ability to download a CSV file if you want to send this to your printer or you want to send this to an Excel sheet that you want to work with. So this would be all our customers. Then we have what we call new customers and returning customers. So simply when we look at this, and I just wanted to see new customers for the month of July, the month of June, then I simply click on new customers, and you can see we had 34 new customers. Again, this is who the customers were. And then we have what we call return customers. Returning customers, if we look at that, would be customers that had a closed invoice before the month of June. So a returning customer means they had been into your service center previous to, and you can see their first invoice date, and then you can see that date range. So when we look at this, and what we want to look at this is, I'm just going to review the definitions real quick, is again, a new customer is defined as a first-time customer to your service center. They're going to come in for all types of reasons, Google searches, Google Maps, community, whatever type of new customer acquisition campaign you may be doing. Nationwide, 60 to 80% of the first-time customer does not come back to your service center. And we're just going to be able to look at that. Returning customers that have been to your business before. These customers are the heartbeat of your business and should be 70-80% of your monthly volume, and you should be seeing them at least 2 or more times a year. Best customers. We haven't got into best customers yet, but as we define best customers, they're going to be customers that came in at least 2 times and spent over $250 with you during a calendar year. they include both new and returning customers for a particular day range. What we're looking for with best customers, they typically have 4 or more visits per year, allowing you to continue to nurture those strong relationships. They also represent 70 to 80% of your sales revenue each month or for the year. Lost customers are going to be defined as customers that have not come back. That's when we start looking at your missing customers. The reality is people move, purchase new vehicles, and try a competitor. Many times customers skip a year, then come back. Once customers have been gone for 2 years, they're the hardest to get back. You should be starting your marketing in the 8th month to missing customers. So the service advisor goal is simple. The goal is to have the service advisor naturally discussing maintenance and future service, the best method of communication, and scheduling the next touch with each customer. And we've discussed that in detail when we go over service advisor best practices in that particular class. In this class, what I like to define, and this is from years and years of doing analysis that we've done at Auto Apps, we know that with most service centers, most of the best service, this is based on the top service centers in the nation, is 45 to 55% of your total customers don't come back the next calendar year. And then we break it down by returning, new, and best. And what we're really focused on is looking at where your retention is. So what we wanted to do is give you the ability to look at your customers and then do an analysis based on the new reporting tool. Again, best customers, returning customers should be 70 to 80% of your sales volume, and you should be seeing that only 30 to 40% of your returning customers don't come back. New customers is just tough, and then best customers 25 to 35%. So when we're going to be doing this, and this is what I'm going to be showing you, is we can provide you with the ability to be able to look at your total customers for a calendar year. So in this case, we had 1,321 customers come in a calendar year. 680 haven't been back. So we go back 1 year. So you got to go back a year to look at this. And you see 51% of the customers didn't come back, averaging 2.71 visits a year. Then we break down the returning customer. So the returning customer came in 781 times, and 274 of them didn't come back. So we're able to actually just see those customers and see the percentages. So what becomes important, especially when we teach the Understanding Your Customer Base class, is going through this in detail and what makes shops numbers. How do you improve those numbers by just 5%? Because you can see in this case, 583 were your best customers. They represented 83% of the volume. They came in 4 times, and only 158 or less than 26% didn't come back. So we like to look at this trend year over year. So we give you the ability, just as simply, we can give you this chart. We can email this to you if you just send us an email. And now we want to just jump into how do we get this data. So in this case, I'm going to jump back to the customer analysis tool. In this case, I'm simply going to jump, and in this case, instead of, we could go back the last 12 months, the previous 12 months, but in this case, we're just going to say, hey, I want to look at 2017. Now, it's important when you're doing this analysis, we automatically say, don't show me any customers that are do not market to, that you've marketed to. So if you have fleet accounts or you have customers that you just don't market to, they're not going to be in this list. So in this case, I'm going to turn that on. And in this case, when I go to 2017 and I wanted to say, hey, how many customers came in 2017, I just simply click on all customers. And this is going to give me the data for all my customers. Now you're going to see right where we have show advanced report parameters. So we just simply set the defaults here. So you can see that there was 967 customers that came in 2017. In 2018, we had another 462 came back in 18. So this is what we're looking for. Is now what you can see in 2017 is number of visits, average visits, your total sales, your average invoice, and your revenue per customer. This becomes important to look at, especially when we start looking at your returning customers and your best customers. And though in this case, I'm going to say, well, how many of these customers, of the 967, were returning customers? So I simply click on returning customers. If I go into show advanced report parameters, it's simply going to say, there's my date range. I can change that anytime I want. I have a minimum of one closed invoice, and their first visit was pre-2016. They were returning customers, so they've been in since 2016. So you can see that these were 564 returning customers. You can see their visits, your average visits. So this is where we go in and we can easily fill out that report of, and then we start really looking at our revenue of our returning customers is much higher than it was on all our customers. Then if we wanted to look at, and so you can see there now, if I went to show my advanced report criteria, if I wanted to know how many of these customers have not been back since 12/31 of 2017, I put down here their last visit is 12/31 of 2017. Now I'm going to show you how to use that in the retention tool to pull that up. I'm simply going to, so of the 564 customers, returning customers, how many of those have not been back? So I'm just saying their last visit was 12/31, 2017. So of the 564, I can see 216 of them haven't been back in 18 or 19. You can see their first visit and their last visit. You can see their last visit was in that date range of 2017. So these are the customers that haven't been back. You can see them very quickly. Again, this gives us a tool to market with on what we call missing customers. And so of that 216, you can simply, if we simply did the math and we divided, just to show you how that works, 216 divided by 564 that came in, that lets you see 38% of the returning customers haven't been back. So again, just giving you a tool so you're able to look at, and what becomes important is the way you're going to be using this is you're going to want to know who's my new customer for this month, or who's my new customer for this quarter. When we look at best customers and we break that best customers down, again, all we're doing in the report criteria is saying they came in during this date range at least 2 times. They spent a minimum of $250. So that gives us it's an easy to use way of seeing your best customers. Of course, if you want to narrow your list down, or you want to see everybody that's been in at least spent $500, you could do that, and it would simply be able to pull up that report. So if we're looking at the parameters, again, it's just whatever date range you want to put in. Of course, we have the defaults that you can drop down, and allows you to pick the different date ranges and the different reports. Now, what we've done, and I'm just going to go back here to reports. What we've done with the customer analysis is we wanted to make it real easy for you just to be able to pull your customer data, be able to put in a date range, whatever your drop down will be, and then picking the last month. Now, if I picked last month and clicked on best customers, I'm not going to have very many best customers because I don't have enough date range to look at best customers. So really, when you're looking at your last month or last quarter, you're looking at new and returning customers. Again, these are just defaults, and of course, if you want to see the priority by clicking on any one of these buttons is when it goes ahead and loads up your information for your customers. So now what I want to do is get into customer retention and what we've done to make those really easy to run. So if I go into customer retention, same reporting tool, except we're going to call these missing customers. So what we want to say is, when do I have missing customers? So what we're going to do with the date range is we're going to simply say, and we're going to have a default of going back 8 months. So we're going to say, give me all my missing customers from the month of October 2018. So that allows me just to automatically go back 8 months and be able to pick up all my missing customers, my returning missing customers, my new missing customers, or my best missing customers. In this case, I'm just going to say all missing customers. So this is where, again, there's 52 customers. This is all my customers that haven't been in, that came in October 2018 and have not been back. In this case, what we highly recommend is we go back 12 months. So we're going to go back a calendar year. And when I go back to calendar year and say, hey, what returning customers haven't come in 12 months, you can see there's that 221 customers, and then we just give you that list of customers where you can see their last visit was in that date range. So the missing customers, again, if we're just simply looking at were they a returning customer and they haven't been back between those date ranges. And so, again, making it easy from a retention standpoint. So when we really get into using the reports, or you're wanting to get into using the analysis tool, we can provide you, and let's just jump right back in. If you wanted to, we can provide you just this form that you can go back and easily see your numbers, break your numbers down from returning, new, and best, and then see what's missing. And then from the analysis tool, you're able to just simply come in and look at. And what's important is to look at this as a running period, looking at all your retention numbers going up. And we can see real quickly when we go back a number of years that your retention gets better because customers skip a year and then come back. So again, the sales analysis tool and the customer retention tool are just tools designed for you to do full analysis of your customers. Let's just go back into this. Again, if I wanted to see this month to date or this year to date, I wanted to see all my customers. And then it's just simply going to pull that data. And then if I want to see the parameters, I can do that or change the parameters anytime I want to. The columns are all sortable. So if I wanted to say, hey, of this year to date, who are my best customers all time, I can just simply click on the total sales, and then it would go from lowest to highest, highest to lowest. So you're able to do that. Same way for that date range, if I wanted to see RO count or I wanted to see first visits or last visits, any of the columns are sortable. Again, if you this simply just shows you any notes that you'd put in the system and the customers. And again, if you wanted the contact details, you just simply click on Show Contact. If you want to see the addresses, you click on Show Addresses, and there would be all your addresses and your contact information. So this is the customer analysis tool, allowing you to be able to really analyze your customers and which customers are coming into your shop, be it being new, best, and then the customer retention also lets you go in and quickly look at customers that have not been in a calendar year. So if I simply wanted to say, go back 12 months and say who are my best customers that haven't been back in the calendar year, it just simply allows me to jump in and see those missing best customers and then be able to market to those customers. So this is the reporting tool that allows you to see those 87 best customers that have not been back, and you're able to go in and just go through your list. This is when it's also good to export this to CSV and be able to just go in and market to them and do whatever we'd want to with that list. So with that, that's our new reporting tool built into the customer analysis. Once we're looking at the analysis and we're looking at the retention and we're seeing our benchmarks, and then we have the tools built into one of the next classes we'll be teaching is how do I increase my customer retention and what are the best ways to use Service Connect and the marketing tool built inside that to increase customer retention.